Beyond.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 396 of Podcast Beyond. This is a podcast that we make using different computers and some microphones, and it's all about the Sony PlayStation family of different game fun computers.
It's all about it. That's it. All it's about.
I'm Max Scoville, and joining me today is Marty Sleva.
I've returned from Santa Monica.
From the Week of Judgment.
Saint Monica.
Yes, and of course, Andrew Goldfarb.
I'm back.
Back again.
You are back.
I haven't seen you yet. Well, I've seen you, but we haven't
literally.
podcasted
I think
together.
we have literally drank every day since you've been back. I think
That sounds
you're
right.
fine. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's good.
Yeah.
Brian
That's-
Altano's still. He's smooching in Barcelona.
Yeah, it's.
I'm in his apartment, so it's great.
How is that? We talked about this a little bit. Has it been? Have you you made a mess? Have you broken any of his stuff?
Yeah. I have some time to clean up. Yeah, I haven't broken any.
You spilled the time? He's very fussy about his herbs.
Dude, they have a lot of herbs.
I know.
There's a lot of pasta in there too.
Okay,
Yeah.
which is so great.
We talked about this. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
totally.
We wanted to do a video. Like Max said, we should just do an unboxing of Brian's entire apartment.
Just loot his whole house and just throw all his crap on the ground and be like, look at all this different spaghetti. What an Italian stereothepe.
I love the idea that he has a trapper keeper. You open it up and it's just brap and all these different fonts.
There's a I think I took a picture of it on his fridge. There's this daily planner, and it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. He just says shot. And I love that he took the time to write that and to make that joke, because his poor wife, she was just
yeah.
He's a saint.
Oh boy. Anyway, I've it's been weird not having it was rough not having you around or Brian around, because I used to talk to you guys and we go get coffee.
Then you had to move
and stuff.
desks, and it's weird.
Yeah, we had to move desks. It was a very weird week. But now we got Goldfarb around, get to hang out and stuff.
It's good.
Your dog was here. That was the best.
Yeah. It's got a
Have
cool
your dog on
dog.
the podcast once. Next time I'm
You should
gone,
just,
bring your dog
just
on the
don't show up to work
Yeah, I was
because you're
gonna say,
allergic to the
Ryan
dog.
brought his dog onto Unlocked once, and I didn't realize until 15 minutes in that the dog was under the desk, and I started wheezing and sneezing, and I'm like, why is this happening? And I look, I'm like, there's a dog in this room!
That's for your allergies, that's like if you just pulled out a gun and put it on the table.
Seriously. Do all of your allergies rhyme? Wheezing and sneezing?
Wheezing and sneezing. Pleasing and freezing.
Yeah.
This is the story of
Pleasing and freezing. My life in Wisconsin.
All right. So yeah, this is a show we do about video games. We got some stuff to talk about. We've got The Witcher. I played that all weekend. I talked about that. It's a fun game. I want to talk about that. Cyberpunk 2077. Sort of some non-news there. Mad Max, the movie, is a thing that everyone got really excited about. Mad Max, the video game, is that the same? We'll find out when we talk about it.
I can actually talk about it. I found out that I played it and that I missed the embargo, so now I can talk about it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
Well.
good. Then, of course, there is Until Dawn, which is like Spooky Rain.
Until the Swinton Dawn.
Yeah. Is what?
What?
Is she in
No,
that?
just plow through.
Tilda Swinton is not
She
in
might
it.
be in Doctor Strange. I just read that.
Really?
Oh,
As
man.
Doctor Strange?
No, as the ancient one?
Oh, of
Okay.
course.
I don't know how you got to Tilda Swinton and Doctor Strange from Until Dawn.
Until
Until this. Okay.
I'm broke.
Stop
I'm broke.
it. Stop.
Go back
Max
to
is like, I
Santa
don't miss you
Monica.
anymore.
All right. Then, of course, there's the discussion of summer gaming, and there's some pretty cool PlayStation Plus games yet again.
Yep.
Let's start things out. So I've been playing The Witcher. I really like The Witcher. Have you guys had a chance to touch it at all or play it at all? So
I'm homeless.
It is definitely one of those games. It is like Zach Ryan, who's one of our video guys who has been on the show before, and he sits at the desk next to me, and the two of us are I think we have very similar, we live with our significant others, and we'll kind of go out and do stuff, and it's there are times when we're just not really gaming that much because real life happens, you know? And it's not part of our job description to be reviewing stuff or going to preview stuff as much.
Sure.
I kind of been feeling almost like I've been slacking with gaming, and The Witcher hit, and it's just nope, just hitting it hard.
600 hours.
Yeah. That is a massive, massive undertaking of a game. And I kind of think about it, I've been trying to scratch that Skyrim itch for ages, and I think it's doing it.
Oh God,
I think it's totally
terrifying.
doing it, and
That
it's
is so
also
terrifying.
one thing I've never really been into is dialogue sequences. That's never grabbed me because it's always just waiting for them to talk. You know, I went from playing Witcher 3 to jumping into Game of Thrones, and the thing is shows, I think they realize that they have recorded kind of linear video media, whatever we want to call it, movies, TV shows. They've kind of been around long enough that you can kind of the pacing is much easier to pull off. And Like I was watching Game of Thrones and like, you know, Cersei Lannister, like she just like paused mid-sentence and kind of like looked around for a second. And I'm like, this is interesting.
Yeah.
And I'll be playing The Witcher and like its dialogue is great. Like the voice acting is pretty good. But there's parts where I'm just like, skip. I'm reading the subtitles and I'm just getting to the next part.
No, totally.
Yeah, it becomes unnatural for that reason.
And I mean, it's not even The Witcher isn't a badly written game, and there are some examples of really incredibly written games, but by and large, like
The thing,
a well-written movie or a well-written TV show or a book
totally.
is so much,
Yeah.
so far above and beyond.
Because you aren't considering player agency in those
Yeah.
cases, right? Like people can, like you were saying, like skip your dialogue in a way that, like in a movie, you're not just. Well, I guess you can fast forward.
The thing I love about The Witcher though is like the dialogue isn't. It's not just a basic choose your own adventure book. Like there's a little bit of interpretation that goes on where it's kind of like it's almost like the dialogue choices are like shorthand for what Geralt's gonna say. There's a bit I saw like a screenshot of this. This is from The Witcher 2 that popped up on Reddit, but this kind of I think exemplifies exactly how it works. And there's a part where you're being like interrogated, and it was like somebody's like, oh, like, or he's like. You've got your hands tied, and somebody's like, "You want to shake on it?" And you've got like the dialogue options of like, "My hands are tied," or like, "That's funny." And if you choose "That's funny," Geralt's just like, "You," and it's like that's so good. Like it's stuff like that. Where
I love that.
Also, there's you know points where you'll pick like you'll pick different kind of dialogue trees and different routes and stuff that won't really like. I went on I reloaded a save 2 times because I thought I was in a situation where I could totally bang out and romance a lady because she was really flirty and she was like super into it and there was no good ending there. It was like the game was messing with me.
Yeah.
The game was totally like actually teasing me and being like, oh, there's this like flirty lady, but the reality is that this date goes awry and nothing happens. There is no bang out state.
That's
really
kind of
cool,
awesome.
actually.
That's kind of weirdly realistic.
I like
in a game
that.
about like making love to mermaids.
Some people won't have sex with you. Like that's just a reality of the world, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, also one thing, and for people playing at home, I highly suggest trying this out. Turn off the minimap. The minimap is get lost-ish. I mean, I think that I loved Skyrim so much because it was all kind of compass-driven.
Yeah.
And there was like that was the carrot in front of the horse, metaphorically.
Yeah.
You couldn't actually. You had to mod the carrots in if you wanted to have carrots in front of the
have
horse.
like active walking around carrots, of course.
Yeah. But it was like to have that kind of drive to pull you into the game further and to like actually explore the world. I think the compass is a much better system than a minimap because the minimap is just like. You could be looking at that. Like the minimap honestly looks like the original Zelda. It's just like here's a little thing
like a
that's
crappy
you,
little-
and you're walking
that's the
around, and
funny
there's red
thing.
things you should avoid.
If I like walk around the office, and I have this with Skyrim too, but like now, especially with The Witcher, like I walk around and I just kind of stop and I'm like, man, that's a pretty game. Like I'm just watching like stuff going on. But it's like, it's true. Like with the minimap, it's like, ironically, you have the most gorgeous visuals right in front of you and you're just focusing on like the bottom corner.
Well,
like,
and
staring
it
at this
puts,
flat map.
I think it puts too much emphasis on the destination and you tend not to wander off the beaten path. Whereas with the, either with or without the with the compass, like at the very least, if you're like, oh, I have to head north, and all of a sudden you're like, well, but over there's something cool looking. I feel like you're more likely to go over there as opposed to if you look at your map, you're like, well, there's a red dot that way. I better go that way.
Yeah.
I really do wish that, like you've got your Witcher senses, which is like your kind of like detective vision or instinct mode or whatever the hell you want to call it. It'll show you like sound sources.
Ooh.
Or it'll show you if you're on a certain quest and you're trying to be following something, it'll show you like footprints or like a clue, which is fun. I wish that it did kind of like an AR like a Google map kind of thing, so where it would show you points of interest when you went into Witcher Vision, but it wouldn't show up normally.
That could be interesting, yeah.
But it's like it's kind of that's like one mod that I would be really all about because like you can turn off the minimap, which is great. I would be so happy with just a compass, like where your objective is in this direction, you know? But I'll pull up the world map and it'll show me where I'm supposed to be going. And like there's enough actual detail and enough cues in the world that you can like if you know what time of day it is, you can follow the sun. You can kind of use
so
that to
cool.
direct
I
yourself.
love that so much.
And like characters will give you actual directions where they're like, yeah, just go here, take a right, go straight here. And you're like, huh. Like go cross that bridge, and you're like, I know where the bridge is. I'm gonna go to the bridge. But it's like if you're looking at the minimap the whole time, you don't ever actually learn your way around.
No, totally.
Yeah.
And that's like good world building and open world games is when you start being able to navigate without any assistance. We're like, oh, I know where all these landmarks are.
Yeah,
That's good real life navigation.
Yeah,
like
totally.
the thing is, when I moved to San Francisco the first time, I didn't have a smartphone. I got lost all the time. I got turned around. I never went to the mission because half of San Francisco is like on one grid and the other half is on another, and they're separated by this giant diagonal street. It makes no sense. You can actually wind up on the corner of 3rd and 20th, which makes 0 sense. And that's both streets. They're not. It's like not one's an avenue. It's a nonsense world. Yeah, but I eventually got a smartphone, but I had like really limited data, so I would like. When I was on Wi-Fi or whatever, I'd pull up a map with directions, and I would use it as reference. Like I'd be like, here's point A, here's point B, here's the basic number of steps I have to take. But I mean, it's basically how to play Witcher. If you're standing there staring at your phone the whole time, you have no idea where you are, and someone will mug you. Yeah. And so I don't know. That's just a big tip for people who are playing.
That sounds like it makes it more immersive too, right? Because it's like if you are starting the mini map, if you are opening the world map and not really talking to people and listening, then you never get that feeling beyond like, okay, I'm going to this waypoint. But like it makes it feel like a real world when you talk to people, and that's like so rare. I think like GTA has a tiny bit of that occasionally, and it's like finer, more serious moments. But like that's my favorite thing about an open world game is like when it feels like a real world. And yeah, there are mermaids and crazy shit going on, but like
so we always say are there actually mermaids in the game?
They were in the first trailer.
Oh, okay,
they got their breastises out.
Their breastises,
which doesn't make any sense because they're fish. They're half fish. So they technically have fish milk.
Is that a real thing? Oh, isn't that
if
like
a mermaid
like
has a breast?
Ginkgo biloba?
I mean, like if mermaids, like fish, don't have breasts. They don't have mammaries. There's no reason for that.
That's because they're not mammals.
Yeah. So, but what is it? Why would a mermaid have breasts?
Because she's half mammal.
Yeah.
That's like
so. What does the?
It's an upper half.
So theoretically, do baby mermaids do they nurse? They nurse
I would
sharks?
absolutely assume they do.
Anyway,
but
this
the fish half lay eggs though.
Yes.
So they're born of eggs and then they grow into.
My understanding about fish breeding is that it's a little bit like divorced parents who will like the mom will be like, "Hey, honey, sweetie, I left the eggs. The eggs are out. The eggs have soccer practice until 5. Can you go by and fertilize them?" And then the fish dad will be like, "Yeah, I'll go take care of that." And then it'll be like, "I took care of the babies. Will be spawning soon. Let's meet up back then. I got some work stuff, but."
I believe it's coming verbatim from a scientific journal.
I'm seeing the sturgeon down the way.
This was in Planet Earth.
I like that, by the way, when you write down the swears, you write down the time, and then you shame the person by writing their name.
I mean, there was the one episode where Altana went on I think he was going on a Bloodborne rant, and it was just like 7 in a row. And I'm just like, God, this just keeps happening.
Just drawing a bracket.
A bracket.
So another thing to talk about, Witcher 3 is the hot new jam right now. The one thing that I know a lot of people, kind of myself included, is Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be kind of the next thing they do after that. The Witcher 3 is the last CD Projekt Red Witcher game. Like, this is the end of the story for them, and they're doing Cyberpunk after that. They are working with Mike Pondsmith, who wrote the original Cyberpunk 2025 paper game, and he came out to announce it, and they had this really cool CG trailer. That was a while ago at E3, I think 2 years ago. They had
while I still worked here.
Yeah.
They had a single gun replica of one of the Cyberpunk guns they want to have in a glass case at their booth, and everyone's like, "What's up with Cyberpunk?" They're like, "We can't talk about it."
I was like, well, why do you have that there?
They kind of elaborated on that, and they said that we probably won't hear more about it until I'm not sure if
I believe they said we probably won't hear about it before 2017.
We won't hear about it before 2017, which is a lot. But they've also been like, we're not really working on it yet.
Yeah.
Well, they also sort of announced it as a next-gen game before next-gen existed. So it's like, I think like from the beginning, it's in this weird nebulous, like just exciting, cool, futuristic thing.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of it sort of being the Fallout to their Skyrim, right? Like that, like Witcher is more of that like exploration-based, like big open world, and this is that cool, like futuristic thing. So
yeah, I mean that's kind of the. I almost imagine that the gaps between the games are going to be like that. Like the gaps between from Oblivion to Fallout 3 to Skyrim to, in theory, Fallout 4 if we see it soon.
I'm like really, really okay with that.
Yeah, so am I.
I think it's a little bit frustrating when we have companies like Ubisoft who are like, Watch Dogs, coming soon.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Just a minute. Watch Dogs.
Yeah.
Well, but that's
no,
the
seriously,
thing.
wait a minute.
With
We'll get you next time.
2 weeks now. Come on. Just
Is that your French accent?
No.
No, that's his
be a really weird
guy,
French
that's his Mr. Caffeine.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's the French guy's imitation of an American accent.
The weird thing is like
Tom Clancy.
I think that's annoying, like dragging it out more and more and more, like announcing it too early. And then also just like with an annualized, like if The Witcher was an annualized franchise, like you would never finish any of them. Like, and that's the thing, like you want like 3 years in between just to get back to that mindset to want to explore.
Here's an interesting question. What if The Witcher was broken up into separate games?
or
I mean,
episodic or something.
I mean, like it's a 200+ hour game with 4 massive maps that are all like those are each one of those could be an open world game, and people would probably be okay with it.
Yeah.
Tons and tons of systems. They've got 16 weeks of free DLC or something.
Yeah, it's crazy. They just keep announcing it. It keeps coming
And the
out.
game shipped working.
Yeah.
It works. Like they had like some weird graphical stuff, and they're like, sorry, it wasn't as cool as our trailers. That we like. Everyone else is like, oh, it didn't look like our trailer. Oh, that's weird. Oh, hey, look over there. And this is like, they were like, hey, sorry, we'll have a patch up. It probably won't be up before the weekend. Like, who does that?
Yeah.
They're like, sorry, it's beautiful instead of the most beautiful thing you've ever seen. Like,
Yeah.
Sorry, it's like a 9.9 instead of a 10 on the graphic scale.
Yeah, so I mean, I just also I had a bunch of people being like, "Oh, Max is gonna be pissed. Cyberpunk's not gonna we're gonna hear about until 2017." Like it doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, take your time.
We're not gonna see that game for a long time, and that's totally okay.
Yeah, I would rather have that than some fake trailer at E3 this year, and then the game not coming out for 2.5 years and not looking like what
Or
it
just like a new logo or whatever tease that people do. Yeah.
And also, we've gotten, I don't know, it's just like, we talk about entitlement a lot, but there's also just that like I want it now mentality that comes with annualization and comes with mobile gaming, where like everything's just in the palm of your hands, and sort of the art of waiting for something has somehow fell by the wayside over the past, I don't know, generation or last couple of years.
I think people kind of want it both ways too. They're like, they get mad when people take too long, and then they get mad when something's annualized.
Yep.
I think it's this weird feeling where like I feel like it's this like trust issue that like the gaming industry feels like it has at large because of stuff like Last Guardian, and because like we'll see these like long drawn out development cycles and then it just never actually happens.
Yeah.
So it almost feels like when something is like announced like 3 years early and then we haven't seen it, people are like, oh well, it's just never coming.
I mean, it's funny. It's like it seems like one of the rare last bastions of that original idea of thinking is Nintendo. Because Nintendo is still very much the you'll get it when you get it, and generally it looks just as awesome as when they showed it off originally.
Yeah.
I mean, that said, I do think there is a problem, and I understand the reasoning behind it, but people announce games too early. They just do.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's like, it would be really nice if people would just wait. I keep saying people, like, as though there's like one guy making this decision. But it would be nice if companies would wait until it was like a little bit closer. Because I think like when something gets announced and you have it 9 months later, like that's cool. Like if we see games announced at E3 and then they're out this fall, that's exciting.
Yeah, Rockstar tends to do a good job of that.
Yeah.
I think on that front, I'm a little bit wary of how CD Projekt did the Cyberpunk trailer and like announced it, and they were like, "Hey, here's a picture of a lady with knives for arms. Here's a gun that we made in our prop department."
Like,
and then
Yeah. And a bunch of
Here's
it
a
clearly
trailer.
very pretty, but it was like clearly like not gameplay.
But at the same time, I kind of like they're I don't want to say a smaller studio, but they're definitely like an up and coming. Like
They're
not,
definitely they're going through massive growth spurt
They made
right now.
3 games.
Yeah.
You know,
And
like,
this is by far going to be their
I mean,
biggest one.
did they make games before The Witcher? That's a really important
I
question.
imagine.
We don't know off the top of our heads if they did. So
no,
like
definitely.
that's
And it was probably PC only.
Yeah. So they've definitely grown a whole lot. And I think that like to announce Cyberpunk side by side with The Witcher is kind of being like, hey, we're one of the big guys. Just let us like wait around a minute, you know?
totally,
Because the fact that they had like Cyberpunk branding at all at the same time as The Witcher, if they just had a booth that was like, here's our game, The Witcher, people would be like, what is this, some weird Eastern European PC title? And it's like, no, this is probably gonna be a lot of people's game of the year.
Totally. They do have 2 studios though, right? They have a Warsaw and a Krakow studio.
Right, yeah. So they're both in Poland, I believe. But
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think they have 2 locations.
That was your Poland fact. Speaking of Poland, that's what happens
Back
when
with
Brian's
Marty.
gone.
So yeah, here's a thing. There's a game that I wrote wrong in this list. This is Max the video game.
It's not Max the video
This is
game?
great. It's about a skateboarding dog, and he's got sunglasses on. And he's got to jump around and pick up all the different donuts and sodas. Collect footballs for bonus points. Max the video game coming soon to the Sega Genesis.
Well, we're done here.
Yeah, Max.
No, I want to talk about Mad Max, the Avalanche one. That's Marty. Did you?
Yeah, I played it.
And can you talk about it?
Yes, I played
Okay.
it. I was gone at Judges Week last week, and one of the games I played and can talk about now is Mad Max. Yes, Avalanche is developing it, which is also the studio that does the Just Cause games.
They're very busy.
They're very busy, yeah.
They're doing something else, too.
No, that's another Avalanche.
Oh, okay.
There's another Avalanche that's working on Disney Infinity 3.0.
That's it.
Like one is Avalanche Games and one is Avalanche Studios. I was very confused last week.
What a dumb thing.
What a
Well, it's like people. It's funny because before The Walking Dead, like before Telltale was Telltale, people used to get them confused with Traveler's Tales, the Lego games.
Man, the Walking Dead guys did the Lego
but
games.
now that's like a
crazy.
very different.
Traveler
yeah.
Tales goes by TT.
Yeah.
Then of course there's CCP.
CCP?
Yeah, CCP, and then there's 6C, I think.
I see.
Well, and then there's the people who just made, what is it, Sunset, Tale of Tales, or whatever they're called. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, it's very confusing.
Everyone gets different names.
The video game company names are
Just
bad.
have
And then
your
there's that
company
game
name be a
Max
series of
and this
numbers.
game Mad Max.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one. But yeah, the new Mad Max.
Mad Max.
Everyone is so hyped. The Fury Road is an awesome movie.
So-
it kicks ass.
Yeah.
This game.
This game has good things.
Okay, tell us about the good ones.
The game has good things. So what we played, it did not touch really on the story whatsoever, but it's very clearly not tied one-to-one with Fury Road. Your character is not Tom Hardy. There was no sign of Furiosa-esque character. The game was much more desaturated,
Like color-wise?
color-wise than Fury Road is. I don't know where it takes place chronologically. Like he knows that
none of those
he
games
knows
do.
that the Thunderdome exists.
Okay.
So that's a thing. The good stuff is the car combat. The car stuff is actually really cool. It's super customizable. A lot of the game is like coming upon a group of like roving bandits in cars that are trying to knock you off the road, and you have a bunch of different ways to mess them up. Like you have a harpoon that you can fire at specific parts of the car and pull them off.
Just
so you can
'cause.
pull off exactly. You can pull off a dude's wheel and it explodes. You can pull a door out and actually pull the dude out. You can shoot flames out the side of your car. You got guns. You can tell your weird like Gimp Man buddy to take the wheel, and then you climb into the back and you have a sniper rifle. So while he's driving, you're sniping at dudes.
So in all the ways you just described, it does sound like Fury Road.
Yes, until the parts where you have to get out of the car and that Max is just like a stumbling idiot.
Really?
Yeah, it's really like it doesn't. It uses a similar combat engine as like Batman or Mordor.
Okay.
But your character just doesn't control well. It's like very fumbly and stumbly, like almost like how like certain Rockstar games have like weird inertia. Like when you're running forward and then you want to like make a U-turn, like your guy kind of
He like keeps going.
yeah, and he's
Yeah,
kinda
or like if you jump and then you ragdoll, you're like a
and
flipper.
I'm like, why is this happening? And so that felt weird. Picking up items is kind of excruciating because the detection box on the ground, you like are scavenging stuff throughout the whole game, and the hitbox and like the detection box on the ground is very small. And so you're like, oh, I'm gonna go pick that up, and you're like, oh wait, I walked a step over it. Now I have to. Oh no, I'm a step to the left.
and the walking isn't tight.
And the
so
walking's
it's-
not tight,
okay.
and then you have to hold X for like 5 seconds, and a little meter comes up to pick something up. And there's no reason not to pick anything up because it's not like you can become encumbered or run out of space.
God.
It's just like, oh well, no, why would I not pick up this money?
Yeah.
I want this money. Yeah, the combat was kind of slow and weird. I'm intrigued. Like the car combat stuff was good enough, and this game is a couple months out, and some of the stuff absolutely can be
It's
fixed.
this year.
Yeah, it's September.
Yeah. So
In theory. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just like aside from that's the thing that really kind of bugged me because like somebody was saying this about how it feels more like Batman, like just basic traversal than it does Mordor, and I thought Mordor was like a really fast, tight game. Like
Yeah.
it felt good to run around.
Oh, totally.
Which didn't make any sense because you're like a man in the wilderness, and it was like you get power ups that let you jump over ghosts.
I
and
like how like when you
do
want to run
backflips
fast,
on
you just
logs.
kind of like bend over and start like shrugging. Like,
Yeah, we're like shuffle.
Don't
But
think about it. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's just fast.
It's
Whatever.
like you can land and like roll into it and just
yeah.
keep going.
Yeah, that was great. That was really fun. And just to think that suddenly I'm gonna be like getting out of a car and being like doing the Batman walk, and it's
yeah.
just like I don't like. It's weird to think that like a Middle Earth Ranger would be more agile than Batman.
Yeah, right.
Who's trained by ninjas. You
Yeah.
know, one of them's like a woodsman, the other's like
Yeah.
trained by ninjas. Anyway, yeah, Mad Max.
It's just also the open world. I know it's like supposed to be like a desolate post-apocalyptic desert. I didn't see a ton of interesting stuff to do. Which again, this is a very small slice. You know, I only played the game for 40 minutes, half an hour, 40 minutes. And it's also, if it's coming out in September, it's coming out alongside Phantom Pain, which is also a big open world game set in a deserty
Yeah,
location.
this is probably, and it's like, man, like if Fallout does get announced, and that's not going to be good for this game.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, right? Because
yeah. Like I don't feel bad for it, but it's just like the timing next to Fury Road, like obviously that's what they're trying to get. Like they
Yeah.
want to piggyback off of that, but like I feel like that comparison sounds like it's actually unflattering. Like it sounds like it's hurting it.
Yeah, I think that really like people are going to pick it up and be like, "Hey, this reminds me of this thing," but it's just like it looks like the difference between Batman Arkham Knight and like the Dark Knight, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Except the difference there is that there was not an overabundance of really good Batman games at the time. You
Yep.
know, there have been a ton of post-apocalyptic games. There's a really good likelihood we're going to have Fallout 4 revealed,
Yep.
and this just seems like it's going to be kind of like paling in comparison to other stuff from both sides. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
The one kind of upside is we haven't really had solid car combat in an open world setting.
Yes, I completely agree with
Like
that.
car combat used to be one of those like just tenets of gameplay. We had Twisted Metal. We had like
full auto.
yeah, there was like Carmageddon.
Carmageddon. That's coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like and what is it? I mean, there was a Star Wars car combat game. There was Star
Super
Wars
Bombard.
Demolition.
Oh, Demolition.
Yeah, that was the thing. It was like it's like Twisted Metal, but you can be like you could be Boba Fett. Like
I
why?
forgot how many Twisted Metal clones there were, like Vigilante 8.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like that was a thing. That was a huge thing for a while, and then it just stopped pretty much. And then like there was like one Twisted Metal game, and it was just it felt kind of dated in some ways. A lot of people really liked it, but then like we really haven't seen like that coupled with like, I mean, like open world driving is kind of a standard thing.
Yeah.
Like, but we haven't seen it with combat. And like there's
totally.
a little bit in Saints Row, sort of, you know, with some GTA mods. But like,
And vehicle controls are generally like it's very, very rare to hear like, oh, like the walking controls are bad and the vehicle controls are great.
Yeah.
Like it's almost always the opposite.
that's really bizarre.
Yeah.
It makes me want like just them to license out their car combat engine to like every other open world game.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. I just the trailer for this that just dropped it made me so. I rolled my eyes a lot and I groaned and I looked like I was having some kind of weird sexy thing. I was just like, oh. But really,
That would be a really weird, sexy thing.
this trailer exemplifies like if you take Fury Road and you look at like everything that I liked in Fury Road is the stuff that really isn't showing up in this trailer.
Well, this is like the
there's-
surface level. This is like the shallow versions of it.
But
right?
I mean, to be fair, that's how Shadow of Mordor was marketed too, and I went in with such low expectations that were completely blown away. And like the thing is Shadow of Mordor had like a garbage story. Like it was just not an interesting story. The world wasn't really that great, but it was really, really fun. And I felt like I totally got my money's worth with that. I played it, I loved it. And I was okay with it, you know, like that's how video games kind of used to be in a sense. We didn't have to you didn't have to fall in love with them, you know? Like we used to be like, let's play this game for a while because it's enjoyable. And now we're like, yeah, but will I buy an action figure of it and maybe get a tattoo? And are you invested in the story?
Yeah.
There was a time when like video game characters didn't really matter, you
Totally.
know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Is it kind of like a return to that where it's like you like cars, you like to shoot a man? Try this out.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good point. You also have on here there was an NES Mad Max game which I totally don't remember.
Guess who was going to be on this episode but wasn't able to, and who probably
Was
wrote that
that
down?
Jared?
That's probably Jared Petty.
This
Who
is
probably
Jared's
know all
fault.
about
This is
that.
Jared's
Yeah.
fault. Also, I should have known it was him because he called it Mad Max instead of Max Max.
Yeah.
Jared was supposed to be on this episode, but he had a scheduling conflict because E3 is horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see the reception of this after like Batman and stuff too. Like, cause that's another like, man, that's a good open world game that looks like. I mean, like I played E3 last year, I guess, and like those not car combat, but like the car controls feel pretty good, or at least they did to me.
Yeah, we have a lot of open world games coming up. I mean, Avalanche is making another one too that people are excited about with Just Cause.
Do you think that? I mean, this is clearly like this is going to be one of the genres that's kind of just native to this generation. I think. Like, I think it's going to be. Why isn't it open world? You have the power to do that. You've we figured out a formula that works.
I mean, that started happening last gen too, right? It's like even like the Lego games, once they finally opened up, what was it? Lego Batman 2 was finally open world. Then I think they released another one right after that wasn't, and people were like, "Oh, go back to open world."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like expected from every game now.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really dangerous too, because to have an open world where there's not enough to do, or where it's like you really are going to notice it, and you're like, why isn't this just a guided story?
Well, and there are weird things that like I don't know, like I remember like I think Bioshock Infinite are good examples of things people expected to be that, and then they're just not. They're actually like pretty linear.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Yeah, I think you need the world has to feel interesting enough to make it worth not being able to go over there. You know? But I think people are used to being like, I want to go explore that hill, and then when you hit like an invisible wall or something, it's like frustrating.
Oh, why did this happen? Yeah.
It was my understanding that Bioshock Infinite was supposed to be an open world, but had its share of limitations both on the kind of development side and otherwise. And it's like, why else would you have a rail system if you're just going to be going from like area to area?
Circles. Yeah.
Having like that was the fast travel, which Sunset Overdrive totally used.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, yeah, and like I mean, Infinite was like again exploring that idea of like almost like an amusement park gone awry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so one game that is not an open world game that's coming soon, it's sort of an opposite type of game, is Until Dawn.
You're good at your segues.
I have my moments. Until Dawn is that one that looks like Cabin in the Woods meets Heavy Rain, kind of. This was announced a while ago.
Yeah, so
It was
originally
announced a move game, right?
Yeah.
a super
For
long time
PS3,
ago, and
wasn't
it
it?
was
But it was like Gamescom 2012, 2013.
but it sort of got rebooted, I think, last year. with a cast with Hayden Panettiere and Rami Malek, who's a real person who's in the Pacific.
You know who's in it is Peter Stormare.
That's
was
the
just
only one
announced.
that matters.
Peter
And
Stormare
thank you for adding this image to the doc, by the way.
Is the scary guy who looks sort of like Bruce Willis in Fargo, and Carl Hungus, the star of Log Jammin' from The Big Lebowski, who's also apparently an Arrow, but I only watch Coen Brothers films.
I only watch movies with a man named Hungus in it.
Yep. Carl Hungus, Log Jammin'.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, are you a big horror? You're a big horror guy?
I'm a huge horror guy, and I really like what I played of this last year at Gamescom. We'll go with it was a country.
Guess.
It was
Who
probably a
cares?
Gamescom. Yeah, I think it was a Gamescom. Yes, because it was a hotel I had never been in, which could only happen in Germany. Yeah, I really like the idea. That's core conceit of anyone can die and anyone can live. Like, you can end this game with all of your kids dead, or you can end this game with all of your kids alive, or half of them could be heartbroken because their lovers are dead.
It's like the Mass Effect 2 of horror games.
Yes, it is. Wow, they are going to pull that one out, put that on a box. Yeah, and I like sort of the vibe. It's for as many like sort of teen slasher movies as there are. Games don't do that.
It's
Games
hard to
haven't done that.
It's kind of hard to pull off. Like we really. I mean, we had stuff like Night Trap, you know.
Yeah, and there is a Friday the 13th game in the works right now, which we don't know anything of, which may or may not be 4v1, and I might have made that up. I might have drunkenly pitched.
Yeah, I think we talked about this.
I think we got drunk and started talking about Friday the 13th.
I think it's not officially Friday the 13th, but like, God, the guy who played Jason in the movies is in it for mocap or something, and they've kind of explained.
I think it is actually Friday. I don't know.
I have absolutely no idea what.
Yep, you missed it.
I want a Friday the 13th game where it's like Shadow of Mordor, but instead of orcs, it's just horny camp counselors. But they start making crazy like they make catapults out of canoes, and they're but you're super fast, but you're just.
And you run like this.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Jumping around, riding dogs as Jason. Jason jumps on the back of the dog. The dog runs up on top of a cabin. They're like, why?
Why are you doing this? Yeah, August 25th, though, which means I thought this might have got pushed all the way to the fall to be one of Sony's fall games because they don't seem to have a lot of those right now.
Yep.
But it's not. I think this is a good time for it, though, because... like, as of right now, there's a massive gap between Arkham, which comes out, I think, the week after E3, and something like Metal Gear, which comes out in the middle of September.
Yeah.
So there's sort of this big gap that, like, if there's a big July or August game, like, you're going to have room to breathe.
Yeah.
I feel like that happens every year. There's, like, a huge gap where nothing's coming out, and there's, like, 1 week in November where, like, 11 games come out.
Yeah, and like, why did any of this happen?
Yeah. Also, I mean, with these open world games, I think we're going to reach a point where people opt out of stuff because they're like, I know a bunch of people have been like, I'm not gonna play The Witcher. I don't have 200 hours to play.
Well, especially
a
if
game.
they just came off of Dragon Age.
Yeah.
Like, I think people are just like, even though they're not really that similar, like, it's like similar enough.
Yeah.
There's swords in both of them.
Yeah.
And you can have sex.
We talked for a while ago, despite the fact that we didn't really like the order for what it was. Its length, we were totally fine with.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to do a game in 5 or 6 hours, like, I imagine this isn't going to be a super long game, especially if I just choose to have all my kids die right away. I get to a real quick ending.
Well, they
just
had
Peter Stormare.
Yeah.
Just hanging out, log jamming.
Yeah, log jamming with Carl Hungus. I don't know. Do we know anything about the story? This aside from there's kids in a cabin and there's a scary man and
there's a scary man. The last trailer made it sound like there might be some spooky entities. There's a lot of touching stuff, like jump scares. It's actually spooky.
I would kill if there was some kind of like Cabin in the Woods style twist to it. Like,
jeez.
Well, they had the logo for it is like a butterfly and it shows these kind of veins going through the wings and it's like you choose who lives and who. And I'm like, oh, that's like it's a branching path.
Yeah.
But how many endings did Heavy Rain have?
750.
That had a bunch of different ways things could work out. And that was a game that was trying to, like, that had 4 separate characters doing their own thing, and it was still kind of actually like this world that you were navigating. How does this control?
It's when you're actually moving around, it is sort of like a very slow third-person over-the-shoulder game, and there are nodes to interact with throughout the environment. Almost not super dissimilar to a Telltale game. It's definitely like you are in a room and you can explore the room, and once you explore the one thing that triggers the next scene, you're in the hallway after that room.
Is it still going to be motion controlled at all?
Not at all. Nope. It's no. As far as I know. Oh, geez, was there like DualShock 4 stuff?
I'm actually like weirdly.
I'm
like a little bit disappointed by that.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm in no way disappointed.
So no, here's my thinking. There is that I love the idea of this as a party game, getting a bunch of people. Theoretically, if this is a game that has a million different branching pathways and endings, and people can live and people can die. You get a bunch of your friends over, you all get drunk, and you're gonna get shouting at the TV, and somebody's gonna have the controller, and something scary happens, and everyone jumps, and the person who's got the controller is trying to fumble with this thing or whatever. That could be really cool.
Yeah.
Because everyone gets mad at him if Hayden Panettiere dies.
Yeah.
Because you have to save the cheerleader to save the world. God, sorry, no.
Heroes Reborn coming in fall.
No, I don't know. If it does have motion controls, I'm sure they're going to be like, no, it's fine. You can turn them off. They might also just have been like demoing it with regular stuff. But I love the idea of this as a big like fun couchy co-op game that people can play together.
Yeah,
you know?
Totally. Yep.
Yeah.
I think we need more of this.
Yeah, I was talking to someone about how interesting it would be if certain games like this or like a Telltale game were played in theaters where the
Telltale
audience
does that,
all
though.
had, but where the audience
everybody,
all had whatever a 1% vote in the final outcome.
It's like that one Lifeline and He Wants to Be a Millionaire.
Yeah.
where
yeah,
everyone,
exactly.
like,
Where like the entire thing is like ask the audience.
I saw a video when I was in, no joke, 3rd grade that it was like about the future of entertainment, and it had like crappy 1995 VR headsets in it, and then it had one of those people in like the gyroscope things, which didn't have anything to do with anything. But they had this one shot of like a joystick on a movie theater seat that had 3 buttons, and everyone was watching this movie that had somebody riding on a track bike, like a mountain bike, and there was a fork in the roads, and everyone's like pushing buttons to choose which way that he would go, and I'm like, and it was like live action video.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a video game, but we're at a point where like that's exactly what this is.
Morpheus's launch title: Fork in the Road, the road less traveled.
Which way will Bike Man go?
And then he just goes down and fades out, and that's it. It's the ending of Castaway. Is there spoilers for Castaway? Sorry. I think that's happened. I think surely there must be some theater somewhere that's experimented with like they shot 2 endings and the audience chooses one. Like
Clue.
There was.
I mean, they're
It
like
depended which theater you chose to go to.
Someone else murdered. There was that Francis Ford Coppola movie called Twixt that Dan Deacon did the score for.
you might be thinking of the candy bar.
I am not. This is Twixt.
Pardon me.
Dan Deacon did the soundtrack
He did
for
the
a
soundtrack.
Coppola movie? What?
And they went around to certain theaters, and I saw it here in San Francisco. And Dan Deacon was in the back along with Francis Ford Coppola, and they would edit the movie and score it differently depending on the audience's reaction to things. Like he would be editing the movie live, like he would be 10 minutes ahead of you, moving things around and ending scenes early. And Dan Deacon would be like making noises.
That's really cool.
The movie was
that's
real
amazing.
dumb. Like Val Kilmer was a chubby vampire, and like one of the Fannings.
can't help it.
Like the third Fanning was in the movie. The movie was dumb, but like the thing as a whole was super interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So summer gaming is the thing that's approaching us rapidly because the seasons do change, much like the turning of the earth.
Remember that thing about the good segues?
We got a email from Kenneth in Norway who says, I wanted to hear your thoughts on your gaming habits during the summer months. Me personally, I find it less gratifying to play my games during the summer. I always feel guilty when I'm sitting inside when there's this awesome weather outside, in which turn leads me to not appreciate the current video game I'm playing. Me and my friend have discussed this for a while now. We both seem to agree that lengthy RPGs and stuff like that isn't enjoyable during those warm and nice summer months, opting instead to go for games like car simulations, fighting games, and games that you don't necessarily have to invest a lot of hours in one sitting seems to be a better approach.
So Kenneth's in Norway. Do they have summers there?
They have about 2 hours of summer
Yes.
every solstice.
That was a math problem.
They call it the Great Eye of the Universe opening. No, I
feel like as a kid, I played most of my games during the summer because obviously summer vacation and
Yeah.
stuff. But as an adult, I probably played the least right now.
Yeah.
I mean, in this job especially because it's like
Yeah.
3 and we're busy. But I mean, even before that, I feel like summer is the time when like, yeah, it's like, nope, not discussing out anymore. I'm gonna go out and do stuff.
Yeah.
I'm totally with him on this. I'm going to be playing The Witcher all summer.
I know. So like you're
It's a
with them on
reality.
this, but it's like, man, you came out at a sad
I
time.
have to play it because
Yeah.
it's out now, you know. But like, I really do kind of like I like that a bunch of games come out in November. I'm glad that more games are coming out like around January, February, because it's like, especially for us, it's like kind of slower then. It's gross out. It's not. There's like less daylight, and it's like it's kind of weird because it's like, oh, it's light until 10 o'clock. I'm gonna stay inside until 10 o'clock and then continue staying inside.
Yeah. I totally agree. Like I remember summers in elementary school all the way through high school where like I can specifically remember, especially RPGs, like getting something and like playing through like a Final Fantasy game or a Suikoden or something like that, and like having those games completely take over my summer. Like I have an early June birthday, and so I always remember whatever, like I would get a game for my birthday, and I remember like playing through Super Metroid or Banjo-Kazooie or something like that. Yeah,
Just those two, though.
Just every year I would jump
Your
back and
parents would
forth.
rewrap it and give it back to you.
Yeah, like, oh, this game's so great.
I remember sitting at my best friend was having his like 4th of July barbecue, I think, and he'd just beaten Final Fantasy. I guess it was 3, which technically is 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
And we had
Best
like,
of the Final Fantasy.
and it had like a half-hour ending, which is it's a Super Nintendo game, so you're just sitting there reading it's like a PowerPoint presentation. You're like, all right. And most of us had no idea. I mean, most of us had no idea what was happening.
Yeah.
I'd kind of been in and out of like sort of following things, so I think I at the time knew what people were saying.
I hope
but-
Kafka's all right.
yeah, but we were all like, whoa, look at that gradient that just moved there. Weird. Oh, those are some big numbers flying off of that guy. Like, it wasn't exciting at all, but we were all like kind of gathered around. We're like, this is interesting. He just beat this game he's been grinding away at for hours and hours. I'm all for like stupid summer games. We party more in the summer because it's like you could stay up later, and it's like, you know, it's easier to get out of bed in the morning. And
Yeah, and I feel like now it's a good time for like, man, like that feels like a great time to play like Nidhogg or Towerfall or one of those like competitive
God, I'm
games.
so glad you brought up Nidhogg.
Yeah.
I had some of the most fun playing a video game in the last, like with another person that I've had in the last, I don't even know how many months or years or whatever. One of my really good best friends from high school, who I hadn't hung out with in a while because we both have girlfriends and jobs and stuff. We just were like, let's get together. And my fiance was out of the house, so the two of us decided to get your pen out, absolutely just Kaus drunk, and just like we were wearing backwards hats and like playing Judas Priest records and just being the dumbest guys. And we started doing Nidhogg and Towerfall tournaments that we were like sort of making up as we went along, but going shot for shot. We played a round of Nidhogg that lasted 18 minutes. I died 93 times, but I won. It was insane. We were like flailing around on the couch and like kicking the rug up and like falling off the couch like kids in a crappy like 90s commercial. But we're both in our like late 20s, and we're just like, get the sword, rip his neck off, yeah! And it was so much fun. And I'm like, that's the kind of game I want in the summer, you know?
Yeah,
like
totally.
I want
It's
to.
perfect.
I mean, and it's kind of fun because you will have games that kind of like GTA. Totally also a summer game because you can be like, yo, let's try to hit that jump repeatedly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
or you
this
can
is
literally just be like, let's drive down the highway listening to music.
Yeah.
Like it's
We're
like
gonna-
a sad simulator of what you could be doing outside.
Who can do the most damage with before the tank shows up or
Yeah,
whatever, you know,
exactly.
like, and I kind of like I love the idea of having an open world game that has a mini game in it that is satisfying enough that it works on that level.
Well, yeah, and there's also like, for me, summer is associated with day drinking, much like the rest of the year. but like we've had, like I think in the 2 weeks we've been back, we've had bottomless mimosas twice.
I think
And
three,
we've drank
possibly
literally
3 or 4
okay.
times.
And so one of the times I went back to my apartment and I was like, I'm gonna play a game, and I'm playing through Ori still. I'm like, I'm gonna play Ori and the Blind Forest, which is a very difficult game that requires precise timing that is completely lost if you've had 11 mimosas. So I got home, I'm like, I can't play Ori. I'll go back into Bloodborne. I'm like, can't play Bloodborne either. God. And so it's totally finding that game like a Katamari or like something dumb like Tony Hawk or
Yeah.
Which we find out his name's Anthony Hawk.
Dr. Anthony.
Dr. Anthony Hawk. Wait, why doctor?
Because he's
a doctor of biology.
He's the doctor of 720s. I don't know. Let's see. We got an email.
Yeah.
This one is from a lovely droid named CM14, apparently. Beyond, I'll get to the point. The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt, Batman Arkham Knight, Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, Persona 5, Final... this was the...
Jesus.
What's your guys' top 3 of these?
No. Okay,
Most
he said-
anticipated games.
Yes. So
Lead
his,
with
was
the
I guess the
question.
subject.
okay, so CM14 said his top 5 most anticipated games right now are The Witcher, which you got that. Congrats.
You can stop. You can stop anticipating it.
Arkham Knight, Phantom Pain, Persona 5, and then a tie for Final Fantasy 15 and Kingdom Hearts. And he asked us what our top 3 most anticipated games are of the moment.
Persona 5 is way high up for me.
Is that right up there with you?
Yeah, that's definitely my number 1.
Yeah, which we're going to get into Persona soon.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
are. And Batman also. Honestly, like
Really?
I mean, it's weird, right? Because I loved Arkham Asylum and City. And then Origins, like whatever, felt like too much. I wasn't.
It was.
Really
we
excited
can
about
stop.
it.
We can stop counting that one.
Yeah, exactly.
That one doesn't count.
They aren't even in that collection. That was
Yeah.
rumored, right? Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think I'm ready to jump back into it. Like I am not super enamored with what I've seen of Suicide Squad or Batman vs Superman. Like I don't really feel like there's like an awesome like Batman adventure coming the way I was like still anticipating Nolan movies back in the day. And so I don't know. Like this feels like I'm a big Batman dork and like I can get into this.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that.
But it's weird because those are the first two like big AAA games I've been anticipating in so long. Like and it's funny because I mostly find myself thinking about like, oh man, like really want to play Tacoma or like really want to play like Firewatch.
Dude, so Firewatch is like the one that's on my list right now of everything we've seen, and that's one of those games that we know. Like it's easier for me to get excited for a game that's on the horizon. That's a Firewatch joke. Than it is for something like. I think I don't know if I mentioned on this podcast back when I was working at 1UP, this was like 3 years ago probably. We each did what our 3 most anticipated games of the moment were, and my 3 were BioShock Infinite, The Last Guardian, and The Witness. So 2 of those games still aren't out. And
That's
so
cool.
2 of those games are still on my list, and so I'll add Firewatch in there. Yeah,
sure.
Man, there's so many little games. Like Phantom Pain. I dreamed about the Phantom Pain last night.
Yeah.
I had dreams about it, which is like when I'm at that point, I'm like, this is a little bit worrisome.
Yep.
It's one thing to be playing a game a bunch and to dream about it and be like, I just did that all day, you know. But like, to have weird dreams where it's like, I think Snake was skinning a buffalo or something. And I'm like, is that confirmed? Where's his shirt? I don't know. He does this part where he takes his shirt off in the game.
Yeah.
Why do he's got little bandoliers over that he looks like a fireman and like a sexy calendar.
There's a lot of different costumes in the game.
That's gonna be fun costumes for that game.
Yeah.
Phantom Pain, yes. I might pick up Arkham Knight, but I'm totally not. I'm just
Sure.
It's been a while. It's been one of those like I was super excited for it probably like 6 to 9 months ago. And then it was just maybe oversaturation of
It's
coverage.
that exact thing we were just talking about. It's like, oh wait, keep waiting.
Yeah,
like, I
if
think
that hadn't been delayed.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know?
If this had been again like announced E3, it's out that fall. Like that's one of those things where I think you can build too much momentum for something. Like I think you can like Watch Dogs was an 18-month from announcement to coming out. Like that's way too long. And I guess Arkham's approaching that too.
And I mean, we're doing our E3 planning now, and there's a bunch of stuff there that I'm super excited for. I mean, I'm Uncharted 4, obviously. That's one of those things like the Naughty Dog just sort of hasn't failed in a very long time. Like not only hasn't failed, but it's just delivered incredible things time and time again.
And that's that weird thing where like that one, like I'm like super excited for Uncharted 4. It's one of those things where it doesn't even come to mind because it's
sort
like
of
You
just
don't.
on the
I feel
radar.
like that's not like being excited for it because you know it's going to be good. It's that's just waiting for it. You know?
Yeah.
Like I can wait.
that.
You know?
That
when
totally
it's done,
makes
it's
sense.
done.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm just totally. I'll trust it. Like that's sort of how I'm feeling about the new Star Wars movie. Like I'm just kind of like.
All right, everything you've done so far has been perfect. So
It's like just go back to work, finish it. You don't have to come over here and
I feel like
flirt
I
with
never
me with
need
your
to see the
trailers.
trailer for that. Just tell me when it's out.
So yeah, Metal Gear Solid, a bunch of like indie stuff. Firewatch is up there. Night in the Woods. I really want to play that game.
Yep.
Is Oxenfree this year?
Yeah.
Oxenfree.
Oxfree. Ooh, I got to play. I think. Yeah, I could talk about it. What Remains of Edith Finch, which is the second game by Giant Sparrow, who did the Unfinished Swan.
Oh wow.
And I got to play that at Judges Week.
And that's a much more kind of realistic looking game.
Yeah, it's more realistic. But so it's first person. You play this girl who you don't know why, but she's going to this house and sort of. It's like I think it's on like an island off of Portland, so it sort of evokes Gone Home until
if you lived on an island.
If you lived on an island and not on a street.
Yeah.
But you explore this house, and each room of the house, it's just an abandoned house, and each room of the house you sort of dive into a member of the family, like their past, and all of them, they've been very open that all of it ends with the member's death. But you dive into this room of this little girl who sort of, her imagination takes her away and you start becoming various animals, and you like look out her window and you become a cat that she sees on a tree, and so it's first person catting. So you're like climbing trees.
I was like slowing to a roll there, and I was like, I'm kind of tired of sad first person exploratory stuff. Animals, I'm on board. Let me be a cat.
But you go from cat to bird, and you're like a bird flying through and like getting down, and at the end I think you became a giant squid wrecking a ship.
Oh, damn.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was very strange. And
Okay.
there was like a natural transition.
How long are you talking about as each of these things though? Like are you playing like a
5 minutes. I mean, the entire demo I think was a half hour, maybe
That sounds
maybe
cool
a little
as
bit
hell.
more.
Yeah.
And I played as a bunch of different animals. The writing was really good. It was really cool.
Man,
that's awesome.
you know what? One game Rhyme.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
That game looks gorgeous.
Yeah, that's another one of those games that was revealed, I think, like 2 Gamescoms ago.
It was that Gamescom that was just like overwhelming.
2013.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was,
And that's Tequila Works.
Yeah,
who did Deadlight, which was
Deadlight.
not a good game at all.
No, it was.
But
Just,
it also-
this game looks so incredible, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Deadlight, I think has showed a lot of promise in some areas, but it felt
Yeah.
like it was just kind of like had to be pushed out the door or whatever.
Yeah.
That looks really, really pretty. Kind of the same. I want some colorful stuff. I'm kind of just.
Yep.
I want like colorful, kind of serene games.
I keep watching Jose play Splatoon, and it's like, aside from anything else, I'm just like, look at all those colors. Like, there's so many colors.
Remember
you can
colors?
use.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's good stuff.
Yeah, video games. But I'm hoping also, like, it would be awesome if we get to E3 and there's something we didn't know about that we're like, oh man, nope, that's
there's
on the list now.
Totally going to be
Yeah,
something.
which is going to be the
I mean,
best.
there's Fallout 4.
Yeah.
Probably. Most likely. I don't know. When is that coming out?
Yeah.
Also, Crossing Souls. Crossing Souls was
Sounds like a TV
kickstarted.
show from like the 70s.
It's basically if you had the Goonies, but they were able to go into the dark world from Zelda, but everything looks super 80s and neon.
Whoa.
How do I not know about this? All right, well.
Yep.
That's
there's
on my list,
There's
too.
a bear. I think you fight a bear
Totally
with a
down for
rake
that.
or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like bears and rakes.
I feel like there could be like a Max Scoville describes games he's excited for generator where it's like, there's a bear, everything's neon, you got a bunch of noises, you can do sick jumps. What's this game about? I don't know, a bunch of guys. So PlayStation Plus
Yeah.
has once another lineup because that's how that works.
Yeah.
What do we got?
The big ones are Ground Zeroes for PS4.
Yeah,
which
get
is
that. If you have
awesome.
never played a Metal Gear game in your life, this is totally not the place to start in terms of story, but luckily there's not much in the way of story and it doesn't make sense anyway.
Yeah.
It is, however, a really good primer for what the mechanics are going to be like in the Phantom Pain.
Yeah, totally.
So get it. It's free. It's really fun. It's a fun game to goof around with your friends.
Yeah, remember those?
I spent the summer of 2001 playing through the Metal Gear Solid 2 Tanker demo disc repeatedly and just not really playing it on purpose, kind of being like, what happens if we throw a magazine clip at this man's head? Let's screw up that ice bucket some more. This is like,
That you
let's,
literally watch the ice melt. In
let's
real time.
play Sleep Jeep. Let's put a bunch of guys who are unconscious in a Jeep and then drive it off a cliff. You can do that in that game. Call of War as Gunslinger. I hear lots of really good stuff about this in
Yeah.
spite of everything.
So this was a PS3 game. Again, I think it was a Polish developer. It was a Ubisoft
it was
published.
Techland.
It was Techland.
Yeah.
really not like, yeah.
It's like as far away from Poland as you can imagine. But the whole thing is like there's all these people in a saloon, and this guy starts telling his story, and the narration kicks in to where he starts saying something where he's like, I came out guns a-blazing, and you're like, fight, you're killing all these guys in his story, and someone else cuts in and is like, no, you were out of ammo and cowering behind a wall, and then the game changes, and all of a sudden you're like behind a wall and you have no guns, and it's kind of like what the Tiny Tina DLC did that for Borderlands 2.
Yeah. It's like, I guess to some degree like Rashomon in real time.
Yeah. I remember one of the characters, I guess I'll spoil, I think one of the characters in the bar was like FDR.
Okay, that's
all right.
kind of
Wait,
weird.
that doesn't make sense.
Nope. All right, that's not. It's a nice
One of
try.
the characters in the bar was a president.
Okay.
It was like before he became a president. At the end, he's like, "My name is."
So anyway, anybody who wants to play this sleeper hit, Marty just spoiled it for you. But it's luckily you don't pay any money for it. So there you go.
And luckily, my spoiler didn't make any sense because it might have been a century.
I've heard this. I've heard this is kind of like the if Far Cry 3 was really bad and Blood Dragon was still good, it's kind of like that, but for some of the Call of Juarez games.
Yes.
The one that Gallegos reviewed before he left versus this one, like, sounds like it's night and day. This one came out like it was a Ubisoft digital event, like way after. And I remember everyone being like, "Oh, Call of Juarez," and then everyone was actually pretty impressed with it.
Yeah.
Whereas the Call of Juarez before that, the one,
Cartel or whatever.
yeah, that was
Whoa.
like the low point. Yeah.
Everyone's like, why? You have a
yeah.
game about westerns and you make it about
You said whereas, and I thought you mispronounced Juarez.
Call of Whereas.
Call us whereas. Yeah. And
then
Skulls of the
there's-
Shogun.
Yeah, I never played that. What is that?
That's a 17-bit who are also doing Galaxy. It's
Oh, cool, okay.
sort of it's like Final Fantasy Tactics-ish. It's like a turn-based tactics game, but it's this really cool art style and actually real funny writing about like the lords of the underworld in like feudal Japan going after each other. Really good. I played it. It's awesome on iPad, and so I'm wondering how it translates to controller.
Nice.
But it's free, so download it.
Then,
goofs.
of course, we've also got
A bunch of hot discounts.
real games.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's a discount pro. Oh.
Yeah, so this is
What?
This is your new segment of Max reads.
Says here there's a thing. What? All right.
Sony's went in. There's sort of a huge PlayStation Plus sale going on newer AAA games through June 1st. Some of the big ones are Dark Souls 2: Scholar of the First Sin for PS4, which is $12 off. It's $47.99.
Bloodborne already being $12 off is a pretty good deal.
It is awesome, yeah. Bloodborne's $12 off. The Order's $12 off. Hyper Neptunia, if you want to go smooch on a robot
Think
girl.
about how crazy it is that the Order came out like months and months and months earlier, and it's the same price as Bloodborne, which is like basically still pretty new.
No, the Order came out like 3 weeks earlier. Like 4
Then
weeks earlier.
Bloodborne?
It was February and March.
No, that can't be true.
One of us worked in the games industry then. One of us didn't.
Do we have any?
Wow, that gap feels so much bigger.
Wait, do we have no new games this week?
I didn't print out the lineup because it was kind of dumb. Is that bad?
Yeah. Well,
Was the gap really that short?
We never know what any of them are. I just make fun of the titles.
No, the big one is Roundabout.
Oh yeah, Roundabout.
So Roundabout's coming to PS4. Roundabout's this game where you play.
I just thought about it and laughed.
It's like
That's a good sign.
Crazy Taxi, but it's top down, and you play a limo that just keeps spinning. And you have to get to your destination, but you just keep spinning. And so you're like, oh man, I'm spinning, but I gotta get through this thing.
There's live action cutscenes.
But there's live action cutscenes, and they're like impossibly cheesy, but really good.
That sounds kind of incredible.
Like impossibly cheesy in a good way.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I played a minute of this at I think the Indie Mixer that was here a million years ago, and I was like, it's a weird, crazy card game about people.
Yeah, that seems like a good post Bottomless Mimosa game.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
Or during Bottomless Mimosa's game. Yeah.
It would be rude to bring your PlayStation to a car. I guess you could do bottomless mimosas at home. We went to a place this weekend that had, quote, endless mimosas. That was how they pitched
Which
them.
I just pictured as like a river, basically.
Yeah. It's
I
like,
once found the bottom of Bottomless Mimosas.
oh.
Oh God.
It was a weird day.
I just looked up these release dates. My brain is so broken. I cannot believe those are that close together. That felt like months to me. I think it's because I saw the Order when I still was here, and so it felt like it was such a long. Because that was at Gamescom 2013. No one cares about this story. Anyway, continue.
No, this is the greatest story ever told. Move over,
you
Bible.
wanna,
There's a new tale in town.
Do you want to just take a minute and go into the story further? Like, just kind
My
of.
nose is just bleeding.
Yeah, what happened in Germany? Did you have a good time?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I walked across the bridge. We're in the Hilton. They have a really good breakfast.
Did you?
No, I'm sorry, we're in the Marriott.
Did you buy a? The
Hilton has the ice bar.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Did you buy a lock that you? Oh yeah, there's the ice bar. There's a bar
Hilton.
made of ice, and
What?
so you
Yeah.
can like put your.
Sorry,
like,
what
the Hilton-
sentence did I miss that I don't? What? What?
in the Hilton in Cologne, Germany, they have
Yeah.
a bar that the bar top is made of ice, and so you can put your beer in there and it stays cold, or you can put your whiskey and it's chilled.
Or you can just get frostbite if you want.
You can just get frostbite.
That's nuts.
You can lick it and become fused with the bar.
Yeah.
Cool. Essential 50.
Did you guys miss me? Yes, I have. So my pick, Persona 4 Golden. This was it was my introduction to Persona. I had never played a Persona game before this. Totally fell head over heels in love with it. I think, man, like you get to know those characters so well, and I think like they feel very real, even though the world itself is obviously pretty goofy and there's weird stuff happening. But like just like I don't know, the localization is incredible, the voice acting is incredible, and so they feel like everyone has their own unique identity and everyone feels distinct from one another, which like it can actually be kind of rare in a JRPG. I think there's a certain point where if you play like something set in like a fantasy setting, characters kind of all feel samey, whereas this is, by being contemporary, like it you get introduced to these characters and kind of care about them in a way I don't think you would otherwise.
Yeah, and the fact that it takes place in like a modern day high school, like despite any of the fantastical elements, like so many of the characters in the game, I was like, oh, that reminds me of him, or that reminds me of her.
Exactly.
And it's like this weird, like, oh, you sort of nailed what that kind of person is like,
Well,
which
it's
games don't generally do well.
It balances. There are a lot of games that are like dating, and first of all, I agree with that. But second of all, there are so many games that are like dating sims, and like that part of it works really well. But like the combat isn't great, or like the dungeon crawl is great, but like the dating stuff is really light, or whatever. This thing like combines everything perfectly. It's like very balanced. It's very happy. It's very bright. Like I got the platinum in that game. I did a bunch of playthroughs. I'm probably going to go back soon. Like I really love Persona.
Yeah.
No, I have a stupid question. Persona 4 Golden, that's the Vita version?
Yes.
Was that, and it was Persona 4 was originally on PS2?
PS2.
Oh,
Okay.
PS2.
2008.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, so it was like very late in the generation, essentially. It was like I think after, it was after the new gen already started, but it came to PS2. And that's the interesting thing is like this got me to go back into the rest of the series. Like I love Persona 3. I actually in some ways like it better because it's darker, but like man, Persona is just like such an incredible franchise.
Yeah.
Could not be more excited for Persona 5.
Yeah.
And like I feel like Golden is such an incredible like easy entry point.
And it's such a perfect fit for portable. Like,
yes,
honestly, like,
for
this
sure.
is like, I think we've talked about this before, where one of the things that scares me about RPGs on consoles are that, like, I'm terrified to spend 100 hours in front of my TV.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, I travel a lot, like, I take public transportation a lot. Like, I wouldn't mind going through a game on Vita that's that long.
No,
especially, like, if you can multitask, if you have a movie on in the background.
That's actually a big kind of concern of, like, I'm curious about 5 because it looks like kind of the most sort of fleshed out, most kind of modern one, obviously, because that's how numbers work. But it's going to be just PS4 though, or is it?
PS3
It's PS3 and 4.
But it's not coming. It's not coming to Vita.
It could eventually, right? Like,
Yeah.
obviously they haven't said anything, but it's like, man, I would love Persona 3 on Vita even, because the problem is like you walk around, you look for
they
save
have that?
points.
It's downloadable on
Yeah,
Vita.
for
It's the
for
PSP game.
So
Okay.
it's a PSP version where you can play as a girl, which is cool, but it's actually like you play as like a dot. Like it's not like a fully realized Persona game. It's like a significantly scaled down version, like without like cutscenes. It's like missing a lot of the
Well,
elements.
you can just download Persona 3.
On PS3.
No, on Vita. You can download the PS2 version. I have the PS.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen
I
it
have the
in action.
PS2 version of Persona 3 on my Vita.
I don't think that's true.
That is 100%.
In any
I
case,
guarantee you
If
it
that's
is
true, I'm very excited.
All right, somebody's gonna write in and tell us about this.
Yeah,
I
no,
know.
please do,
I
yeah.
know very little about Persona. I got Persona 4 Golden as so I had to go when I went to play Metal Gear Ground Zeroes. I went to Japan, which was made me miss Valentine's Day, and kind of as I was gone for like 10 days, and I was like, hey, it was my fiance was kind of like, she was cool about it. She's like, you're going to Japan for work to play your favorite video game. You're still missing Valentine's Day, and I'm like, but I got you this game that I know you're gonna like. And she's always been into like, she's into anime. She's a total weeaboo. So she's like, I'm like, you're gonna probably like this game. She likes Vita games.
Yeah.
She likes to play handheld stuff, and I'm like, you're gonna like this. And I just had a hunch, and she wound up basically shutting me off to play it. Like she was straight up ignoring me. Like we had fights because she was glued to it. She
heard
just
your
wasn't
social link.
speaking to me, and I'm like, you know what? It's whatever. That's cool. I'm glad she had fun.
Yeah.
But now you have like a grudge against this game forever.
Yeah, no, I'm cool with it. I like that one because she finished it and she's like, I got a date with this one lady, and I'm like, all right, that's cool. And what I didn't like is when she played Spelunky on her Vita nonstop because she'd be like, I'm just gonna be, and I'm like, it never ends. Will not, you have beat it before, but it will never die.
Yeah.
That game cannot be killed.
Yeah.
But yeah, Persona is like, it's like I have been told from numerous people about why it's
incredible,
Yeah,
and
it's
it's
awesome.
funny you say that because like I remember when I beat it at the time I was like I would pay forever to just have DLC that's like even if it wasn't story stuff it's just like nonsense like oh you can run around the town and here's like 2 more people to have random social links with like that world is just so inviting and awesome that like yeah it just I don't know there's something very special about that game and it's hard it kind of clicks at a different point for everybody. I think it's like very Japanese. It's very much like if you like Mitch loved it, but he hated all the dungeon crawling and hated all the combat because that's just not what he's into. But he got into the characters and things like that. So I think it's different for everybody. But yeah, like when it does click with you, it clicks in a way that very few games can.
Yeah.
like that's in my probably top 10 games of all time.
The JRPGs. I mean, I grew up playing like Final Fantasy and stuff. I always like played bits and pieces at a friend's house. But I really respect them as a concept, and I know that there's totally like a wonderful. They're a great genre. It's kind of weird to say like, oh, it's all this one major genre that comes out of this country is this type of thing, but you know what I mean. Turn-based, JRPG.
Right.
Persona 4 seems like kind of in the same way that like Rayman Origins is like the logical futuristic progression of something like Super Mario World. Like this seems like the future of like an early Final Fantasy game,
Yeah,
and like
honestly,
Final Fantasy's
definitely
gone
even
to,
more
like,
so
real-time
than
combat.
current Final Fantasy games.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, yeah, I guess you can trace that origin a lot more easily looking at this than you can looking at like 15.
Yeah.
But also,
totally.
like, I mean, it's got like, it's got cutscenes, animated cutscenes and stuff, and I think that's so much more of a logical transition of old sprite-based stuff than like super hyper-realistic,
and honestly,
tessellated
this,
hair
like,
is.
everything they've been doing with like showing off 5 so far. It's almost like Star Wars, where like each of the looks have been so perfect, and it just like it seems like the characters are like the age of like the characters in Catherine. It seems like they keep going to a bar like they do in Catherine.
You get a
which
cat
is-
now?
You get a cat man.
Which is the first part of Catherine.
Yeah.
Catherine.
It's actually a Catwoman.
It's like, God,
Yeah.
It's so awful. Yeah, I'm super excited. And those trailers always look like the editing is like Cowboy Bebop. Oh,
It looks gorgeous. I don't know what the hell I'm looking at, but it looks gorgeous.
definitely.
So
Catman.
So excited.
Good stuff. Yeah, accepted. Persona 4 Golden.
Yay!
Hey.
Now we never have to have another Persona game in the Essential 50 ever.
Persona,
again. The end.
Persona 4 Golden accepted, unlike Andrew Goldfarb.
Persona 4 Goldfarb. All right. So that is our show
yeah.
for you, fine listeners
Yes.
and viewers at home or on iPods or however you do this
iPods.
thing. iPods.
Yeah.
That exists.
Anyway,
Should we talk about June 27th? Which
yes,
we have done?
June 27th is
Yeah.
a special day. It's the day your grandmother and grandfather first sat down to talk about making your parents. It's also the day.
And also, speaking of Max disappointing his loved ones.
No, please don't.
I'm not going to do it.
Okay. Yeah. Not interrupting anyone's special's birthday party or anything. On June 27th, we will be having Beyond 400.
Yeah, and Unlock 200,
Yep.
the live
And
extravaganza.
to celebrate this meeting of a great Xbox and a great PlayStation podcast, we will be playing Mario Kart 8. I think we should as a joke. I think it'd be really funny.
That'd be great.
We will be blowing up a Wii U
Welcome to our
and
Splatoon
overcoming our
tournament.
differences.
we will have
And
the cast of Beyond versus the cast of Unlocked and Smash Brothers, 8 players, and I will be very
we
confused.
will be giving away one Sega Dreamcast.
But yes, it's on June 27th. It is going to be here in San Francisco. It's the same event, but they are separate shows. Don't look.
Yep.
A lot of people have been like, "Why are you going to?"
We'll have cage fights.
Was I doing my own?
What was that? Yeah,
I was
don't-
doing Max's impression of me. I
Whoa,
think.
whoa, whoa, oh, no, guys. Oh.
What have I ever said?
I ate mimosas. Oh, no.
Well, actually, that one is pretty accurate.
Whoa. I'm allergic to dogs.
It's all hitting too close to home now, Max. Yeah, it's going to be June 27th here in the city. Tickets are going to be going up extremely soon. And by extremely, I mean 99% sure before the next episode.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yes.
Cool.
So we'll be follow us on Twitter, Unlocked or Beyond Facebook group. We'll be we'll keep you guys in the loop on that, and it's gonna be awesome. All of us.
Be a fun
will
time.
There. Mm-hmm.
And on that note, thank you guys all so much for listening. I hope we get to see you soon.
Yeah.
If you come to this thing we just told you
Yeah.
about. If you didn't hear what we said, you should rewind.
You can see Max do his mean impression of Marty live.
Yeah.
Until Marty cries.
We're gonna put you in a cage and have people come up and do impressions of you next to the cage, and you'll just be
And
like,
people are gonna-
"This is terrible. This is such a mean thing to do to someone."
Sounds kind of like Jimmy Stewart, like a rough Jimmy Stewart.
So do you.
Put a little bit of
sound like
Bobcat
Jimmy
Goldthwait
Stewart
in there
with
too.
allergies.
Jimmy Stewart.
Oh, Clarence, I'm allergic to dogs. All right. Anyway, you can follow us all on Twitter. I'm Max Scoville. Marty is McBiggity. Goldfarb, you're Garfep.
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 That's the one.
Which sounds like a weird elf man or something or other.
That's what it is. It's a weird elf man.
I had
popular.
sex with Garfep in Witcher 3.
I bought a
I thought you were
tunic
going to
from
say after those
Garfep.
mimosas.
And you, of course, can send us emails that we will sometimes read. It's just beyond@ign.com.
Yeah.
Send those to us, and we do trawl through there for stuff to talk about on this fine show. Thank you all for listening. We love you. Good night. Beyond.
Beyond.
Beyond.